I'm Misty Volaski, and this is Ojai Valley News in depth. Joining us today here in the studio is Ojai Police Department's new Admin Sergeant, Steve Arthur. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. So tell us, how's the transition gone? You're taking over for Mo Hookstra, who's been here for 30 years. Has that transition been difficult, particularly with Captain Chris Dunn out on knee surgery?
Well, it was challenging, and first to replace someone like Mo, you don't replace them, you just try to keep up with what she did. She's just always been a great person to work with, so she left me in a good position. My first day was Monday, and Captain Dunn had surgery Tuesday, so our timing was not the best, but he's actually back now,
Good.
hobbling around, so it's good to have him back. So the transition was, because it was left in such good condition, I think it went pretty well.
Good. And what kind of duties are you appointed with?
Well, it's, I guess you'd say, kind of the assistant police chief. When Captain Dunn's not available, I'm usually at the station, and it varies from training, scheduling, working with the officers, handling any real complaints, the conditional use permits, working with the city quite a bit with finances and that type of thing, and budgeting. So you do a lot of administrative work. I don't get out of the office as much as I used to, but that's okay. I don't mind that work.
And actually, that brings us to our next question. What experience do you bring to the table? Where have you worked before?
I've been with the Sheriff's Department it'll be 18 years in, I think, March or April, and in that time, a lot of my experience was in Camarillo. When you get hired, you do your jail stint, and each promotion you go to the jail. So I've been to the jails 3 times. I had the experience of actually working at the Honor Farm here, which was really, so I have been to Ojai on a work schedule before, but most of my patrol time I did in Camarillo, and that included regular patrol. I did traffic enforcement. Had a really great job as a school resource officer at Frontier High School. So that was, I did that for a couple of years. Then went on and was the youth officer in charge of all juvenile crimes, and then supervising 3 school resource officers. Then went into crime prevention and into detectives. And every assignment has its challenges, and it was great. But after getting promoted to sergeant, I went to the jail and worked over in the courthouse for the last 3 years, handling, again, budgeting, scheduling, training, and administrative work. So doing that in Ojai, I've really been doing that for the last 3+ years. And then a little further back, and I'm a little older than your average, but I actually had my own business prior to coming on the police department. So working with resources and budgets and everything else is, I understand that, and the need to stay within limits.
Particularly in this day and age.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you could stretch everything, and that's the way I usually work, and I did that in crime prevention. If we can bring the community in to assist, as far as calling us when they see something, you can only get so much out of your police department. You have to buy in to help your community. And we're there. We will definitely step up, but you can only do so much. You have to have a community involvement. I'm really big on that.
Mm-hmm. And what are your impressions of Ojai? Of course, you said you've been here before through the Honor Farm, but what are your impressions of the valley and the people here?
Oh,
colorful characters?
Oh, no. My hobbies, which would include hiking, backpacking, tennis, bike riding. I mean, all those add up to Ojai.
That's pretty perfect.
Oh, yeah. No, my wife Linda and I are up here. We're up here a lot, and that's before even working up here. So you might see them on my lunch break on the bike paths. And it's just a beautiful place. And I grew up, before I came to California in the late 60s, I grew up in a really small town in Louisiana, and much smaller than Ojai, but I'm sure Ojai was at that point. So I really feel comfortable in a smaller town atmosphere, and a lot of the concerns the residents of Ojai and I share. I really understand what quality of life means, and that you want to keep the mystique of a small town and of an Ojai Valley as beautiful it is. I'm all over that. I live that. So we're up in Ojai quite a bit, whether I'm working or recreation.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say, based on that, and based on your time here so far, what are some of the biggest problems that we're presented with in the Valley, and are they different from other problems in other places?
Well, your last point about being different, they're really not different. I think one of the biggest issues is the drug availability for illegal drugs and drug use, and that's consistent with probably every city, every county. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a challenge, and we'll continue to fight it. And that's one of the biggest pushes through the Ojai Police Station is trying to curb the drug use and push out the people that are selling drugs and whatnot. That's one of the biggest issues. I have an extensive background with working with juveniles and working in schools. So juvenile problems. That's an issue that I haven't experienced yet in Ojai. I've only been here a short period of time, but it's got to be. Every town has that, and kids are kids. Whether they're from this generation or the past generation, they're going to do things to drive you nuts. And I taught what's called the Parent Project in Camarillo, and did a number of those courses, and really big on working with parents to help them get through the difficult ages of the kids. I would rather take a child that's a little defiant and outspoken, and they cause you trouble, but I think they make great adults because they're not afraid to speak out, and they get active. And I'm sure a lot of the activists in Ojai were probably difficult teenagers. I know I was. So.
And now, Nordhoff has the student resource officer. In the past, we've had it. A lot of budget issues back and forth. This year, we weren't supposed to have one, and yet I'm understanding that there is one at Nordhoff this year. So where's the funding for that coming, and is it going to last?
Well, it's not on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. Even today, we have an officer out there on overtime. He's not assigned to the school. He's assigned to the Ojai station. Mm-hmm. And he's working there for, I think it's a 5 or 6 hour stint. And that's funded by our COPS grant. So it's grant money, and that will run out. Whether it gets renewed next year or not, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And that's working through the city, and the city maintains the grant, and they work with us on that. So that's how we're funding that. Mm-hmm. That same grant money is used for special enforcement. If we have one area that has a real problem, we may saturate it on one weekend with officers on overtime. Mm-hmm. So Nordhoff does not have a full-time school resource officer. That we will, at the beginning of the school year, we're trying to do 3 a week, and then we'll go down to 2 and maybe 1 a month, and we'll go work up with the staff there to see what their needs are. And again, I'm very big on working with the schools, and I've already met with their staff out there. And you may see an officer there at lunch just roaming around and talking with the kids, or you may see me there quite a bit. I've got a big straw hat, the police department hat, but I will probably spend a lot of time out there as well. Mm-hmm.
So what's next for the Ojai Police Department? I hear you have an open house coming up.
We do, and I'm inviting everyone that would like to come out. It'll be from 11 to 3 on Saturday, September 24th, and we'll have a number of events, or I should say displays. We'll have our mounted patrol, canines, SWAT, bomb squad. We'll have the robot.
Very cool.
We'll have McGruff, the crime-fighting dog. And it'll give you a chance to really meet if you haven't met Chief Don and myself and other people and the officers, it's a good time to really get to know your department. And you'll be surprised how open we are to receive calls, and we want to know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of the things. One other pitch I'd like to throw is in October we're offering, it's called Citizens Academy, and it's an 8-week course every Thursday night for 8 weeks, barring any holidays. It's a free class, and it runs about 3 hours, and it's like an extension of an open house. Mm-hmm. We'll get officers coming in, specialists coming in, and you can sit there and ask questions about, is CSI a television show? They show this. Do they really do it that way? So it's a Citizens Academy. Just call the police department and we can sign you up.
And that's 646-1414?
Thank you very much. Yeah, that is.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Misty Volaski. This is Steve Arthur. This has been Ojai Valley News In Depth.